Imagine standing before a castle, not in England, not in France, but buried deep in the mountains of North Carolina. 250 rooms, 8,000 acres, a wine cellar that never runs dry, a library that holds 10,000 books that no one alive has read. They called it a home, but there are those who whisper it was something else entirely. Before there were tours, before there were weddings on the lawn and wine tasting in the cellar, there was a secret, and the Vanderbilts buried it very deep, very deep. The year is 1889, George Washington Vanderbilt II, heir to one of the most powerful dynasties in American history, decides he wants to build a house, not a mansion, not an estate, a chateau, modeled after the royal residencies of the Loire Valley in France, on American soil in the middle of nowhere. He hired the most famous architect in the country, Richard Morris Hunt. He hired Frederick Law Olmsted, the man who designed Central Park to sculpt the ground. 6 years of construction, thousands of workers, and a budget with no ceiling. When the doors finally opened on Christmas Eve 1895, guests walked into a world that shouldn't have existed. It was the largest privately owned home ever built in the United States, and it remains so to this day. Chapter number 1: The Man Behind the Walls. George Vanderbilt was different from his family. While his brothers raised yachts and threw extravagant parties in New York, George was quiet, a reader, a collector, a man obsessed with arts, books, and solitude that no Manhattan townhouse could provide. But solitude doesn't require 250 rooms. Solitude doesn't require a room called the banquet hall that could seat 64 guests beneath a 70-foot ceiling. So what was the really building? Historians point to his travels through Europe, the French Antiochs, the English manor houses, and say he simply wanted to recreate something beautiful. But those close to him describe a man hunted by the weight of his family's name. The Vanderbilt fortune was built on railroads, and railroads were built on the backs of men who never saw a cent of what they created. George knew this. He spoke of it rarely, but he knew, and some believe Biltmore was his attempt to atone. Chapter 2: The Shadows the Mansion Hides. Here is what they don't tell you on the tour. To build Biltmore, Vanderbilt purchased thousands of acres of land that had belonged to local farming families for generations. They were displaced, quietly, efficiently. The records of those transactions are sparse, and in some cases missing. The workers who built the estate, many of them black laborers from the surrounding Appalachian region, were paid wages so low that some historians describe them as barely distinguishable from the convict labor that built other Gilded Age monuments. Their names do not appear in the guest books. Their faces do not hang on the walls, but their hands built every stone of it. Then there is the matter of the sciences. During the estate's early years, servants in journals that have only recently surfaced describe late-night gatherings in the lower wings of the house. Flickering lights in the room that should have been empty. A grief so dense it seemed to press into the walls. George Vanderbilt's wife, Edith, lost her husband unexpectedly in 1940. He was 51, the official cause, complications from appendix surgery. But in letters that were sealed for decades, Edith wrote of the house as thought it were alive, as thought it held something that refused to leave. She sold off the land piece by piece. She never quite explained why. She only said, in one letter written in 1930, The house takes more than it gives. Chapter number 3. What the Rooms Remember. Today's Biltmore is a tourist destination. Over 1 million people walk through its doors every year. They sip Biltmore wine. They wander the gardens. They take photographs in the tapestry gallery. But staff members, some who have worked there for decades, speak of certain rooms with a particular unease. The basement swimming pool, drained now the tiles cracked, is described by multiple employees as a place where conversations die, where the air goes still, where you feel inexplicably that someone is watching from the shallow end. A housekeeper who worked there from 1978 to 2003 said in a local interview, "I cleaned every room in that house, all except one, and I won't say which one. Some things you just learn to leave alone." Paranormal investigators, and you can read their reports publicly, have documented unexplained phenomena in the servants' quarters on the 4th floor, voices on recordings, cold spots in July, the sound faint and unmistakable of the footsteps in rooms above rooms that do not officially exist on any floor plan. Because here is the part they don't advertise. Not all of Biltmore is open to the public. There are corridors that are kept locked, sublevels that tour guides walk past without comment, a wing that was sealed in 1917 and has never officially been reopened. No one will say why. Biltmore still stands, it always stands. A castle built from a guilt or grief or glory, depending on who you ask and which year they answer from. 1 million visitors walk its halls each year, and most of them leave with a glass of wine and a photograph. But if you ever find yourself standing alone in one of its corridors, when the tour group has moved ahead and sound has dropped away, stay very still. Listen to the house. It has been keeping its secrets for over 130 years. And it is very, very patient. And on a whisper, not a shout, mystery rewards patience. If this story pulled you into the dark, subscribe and follow, because there are other mansions, other secrets, other rooms that no one opens anymore, and we are going inside every single one. Take care. Bye-bye.